Are you ready? Can Crushers. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Got a shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody. Power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah. Can Crushers. Yeah. Can Crushers. Let's go.
I'm Loverboy Timothy Flowers.
And I'm Dashing Chris Ringrose, and we are the sexiest tag team in professional wrestling, the Brothers of Seduction.
And you're listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Can Crushers Podcast, a Spotlight Edition. And I'm your host, Mark the Mark Martinez. And oh boy, this has been one that's been in the makings for a while, and I'm super excited to talk to this man. We've talked to a host of his trainees, buddies, people that he doesn't like or whatever, but Bobby Blaze is coming on the show to talk about his career, Art of Grappling, FTC, professional wrestling in general, just to talk wrestling with me. Bobby Blaze. You've heard his, some of the trainees that have been on talk, the world about him and how he does so much. And I agree with them 100%. He has changed the way that you train professional wrestlers because he gives that old school mentality and he just tells you do it. So, and that's really awesome. But now we get to talk to Bobby Blaze himself. Worked in WCW, worked in WWF, multi-time Smokey Mountain champion, heavyweight, United States TV, yada, yada, yada. He's held belts. So Bobby Blaze coming on the show. Super excited about this. So got to get the stuff out of the way. So let's do it right now. Guys, Collar and Elbow, hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool stuff that Al Snow and the Hooligans have at Collar and Elbow. Buy it. Buy all the stuff. The merchandise is amazing. I still wear it all the time. And we want to save you money. After you're done buying stuff and the promo code checks out, just type in Can Crushers. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers, and you'll save yourself 10%. That's pretty cool. 10% off of anything nowadays is money in your pocket because, listen, struggle bus coming through in this world. Where can you listen to us? Well, wherever you're listening to right now, and then multiply it by like 100 more. So we have Spotify, we have Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, on Facebook when we post it there. The list just goes on and on. You can even ask Alexa. She'll play it for you. So just make sure you listen. Wherever you listen on any of your podcasts, we're there. Give us a listen, a like, a follow. Ratings are awesome too. So that really helps us keep relevancy out there. And every podcast should be relevant. Listen, you should rate all your podcasts. If you listen to them, it only helps the podcast. So give them a rating, send them some love. Don't forget, if you'd like to be part of a show like this, on the Can Crushers Spotlight, reach out on any of our social medias. You can come into our DMs on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, set something up. Or the old-fashioned way, email, because I guess old-fashioned email anymore. It's cancrusher69@gmail.com. So, yeah. All right, I'm done rambling. I'm going to ramble and stumble and everything when I'm going to be talking to Bobby Blaze. So, let's hear from Al. Bobby Blaze is on the phone.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, Can Crusher fans, Brock's Boulder. Listen, stay tuned for the best podcast, maybe the second best behind mine. Can Crusher podcast coming right at you.
And welcome back to Can Crushers, guys. You heard how excited I was in the opening of the show. I am honored today to have my special guest, multi-time champion across the board. You heard everything that I said in the pre-show, essentially. Mr. Bobby Blaze, thank you for joining us here on Can Crushers today.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure. It's nice talking to you, Mark, and thanks for having me on your program, man. Heard a lot of good things about it.
Oh, wow. Brock is actually talking nice about me, huh?
Oh, yeah. They have something good to say about you every once in a while.
Right, every once in a while. The brothers of Seduction, they're my boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, they're a fine up-and-coming tag team, man. They're learning.
They really are. And I know I said this chatting in a minute. Everybody we just mentioned, and it's kudos to you. And we'll get into that. We really will.
Okay, that sounds good.
I like doing the rewind real quick to kind of find out where you found wrestling. Was it like mom, dad, Uncle Joe? Who introduced you to wrestling?
You're close there, man. An aunt and a couple grandmothers.
Seriously?
So,
nice.
Yeah, seriously. I was in, I'd give away my age. The first time I saw wrestling, it was 1969. It was in Baltimore, Maryland. And my family actually lived there at the time, both sides, moms and dads. And I was at my one grandmother's house and had three older aunts. And it was a big floor model TV, man. It was the old WWF.
Yeah.
And that's it was on TV, and it was in color actually. When my one grandmother was she retired from Johns Hopkins Hospital, and so she's pretty well to do. She had a home back here in Kentucky, but was up there just before traveling nurses was a thing. She went up there and got a really good job, And so my aunt and I sit there and watch TV a couple of Saturdays in a row. And then many years passed. I moved to Kentucky, family, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But I was about 10 years old. So fast forward about 4 years from there, and I'm playing out front, and my brother comes running out, and he called me Robert. At the time, very few people called me Bobby back then. That wasn't until that, later on. But he goes, man, you got to see this. You got to see this. Well, I went to the house. Of course, we just had like a little black and white 19-inch TV and where we was at the time. And by the time I got back in, it was the end. It was just the credits were rolling, and I said, "Oh man, you know what that is?" I said, "That's pro wrestling." And he goes, "What? What?" Because he was trying to tell him about this man that done this flip and jumped over this other guy and this and that. Of course, back then, there was no internet, there was no talking
nothing
about wrestling or anything like that. So I guess the next couple of Saturdays we flipped around and flipped. We couldn't get the exact time down. We were trying to remember. So finally, after a couple of tries, it was the old Memphis TV, man, and we got it every Saturday morning, about 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe 11 Eastern time. And what it was Bill Dundee done this new move called the Sunset Flip. But it took me several weeks to figure that out, and I became a fan instantly again. Boom. Because there's my little brother, myself, and that was something every Saturday we could watch and enjoy, And so I grew up mostly watching the Memphis TV. It was many, many years later before I got to see the WWF again. We eventually got some cable, and we started getting, when I was about 16, we started getting TBS, of course. And we was going out one Saturday evening, myself and a couple of buddies, and hell, something went off that we was watching on TV, and wrestling come on. First of all, we were surprised we got this station on just like unannounced,
right,
on our cable. And I honestly don't know what went off. Maybe it's in a Braves game. I couldn't tell you the truth. But on West Door, and my brother yells at me, and he goes, "Hey, man, Bob, wrestling's coming on." And I go, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, this is wrestling." So it's Georgia Championship Wrestling, And my buddies were supposed to be on their way to pick me up, and I lived down this road. I'd walk up to the edge of it. Phone rang. They said, "Hey, man, you got that TBS on, wrestling's coming on. We'll be out to get you after this is over." So they're in another part of town. And so my brother and I sit there, and we, But God, just freaking out that we get to see all these wrestlers we've only read about in magazines. We were really fans, like I said, we grew up on Memphis wrestling, and this is around 81-ish. And we did have some ICW also, Papo's group out of Lexington. They used to come in at a really weird hour. I talked to Rip Rogers about this just a couple of weeks ago. They had a good time slot, and then something happened, and I won't go into Rip's details about it, but basically they got knocked out of a really good time slot and came on late at night. But still, if you're a Mark or a fan like I was, we did. But back to the story at hand. Getting ready to walk out the door, another damn episode was coming back on to TV. It did 2 hours of wrestling every Saturday on TBS, as you know.
Yep.
So because it was Georgia Championship, and then I guess what, NWA?
Yes.
Okay, so the phone rings again with my buddies, and we're going to head out, out on the town. We're high school guys, we got crews. You know how you are.
Oh yeah.
And
We spent $1 million in gas.
This is over. So we waited another hour. My brother and I, by this time, a couple of my other brothers, stepbrothers, coming into the house like, what's going on? And we're all like gathered around TV watching. Finally, 2 hours later, my buddies come pick me up, and that's all we could talk about. We hung out. We just met up some other guys. Even though pussy was on our mind, it wasn't happening.
Right.
So it ended up being about 15 high school guys in a parking lot. And I'm like, just talking about this new wrestling we got to see, man. And of course, several of my friends, obviously they were fans too, but I had like magazines and all that. So that's how I discovered it. That's all through there. We went to Memphis, came to town one time. I don't even know what year that was. But ICW with the Macho Man and Rip Rogers and Lanny and that group, they came through about every other month. Got to see them. Then the NWA, like I said, once that Superstation hit, man, for some odd reason, they picked up I guess they went on with the Michigan, Columbus, Ohio, and then Charleston, West Virginia. And when they ran that loop, we got to see those guys on Georgia Championship and NWA. And go to those shows. And NWA actually would come to Huntington, West Virginia as well. When I was in college, fast forward a couple more years, I went to several shows at Rupp Arena. That was the old Memphis tapes. I actually got to go and see Lawler and that group down there I went to one night with I was there tonight. The San Diego Chicken came in with Jesse Ventura, and he got 5 minutes with Jimmy Hart at the end of it, shows like that. So I'm just such a fan, man. I have this saying, and our students will appreciate this. I'll take it. I've crushed plenty of cans, so I appreciate the name of your show.
Yeah, you get it.
Generally, I'll take a big drink of beer, and I'll say, hell, I don't know, see the promoter. And they just crack up, but I just say it out of habit. No matter where I'm at, that first beer, that's what I say. I'm like, hell, I don't know, see the promoter. So that goes back to two things. I was in Lexington one time and grew up, Jerry Lawler fan, of course, and I'm standing right beside him. He's watching a match. He's going to be main event that night, but I'm fan. I'm on the other side of the railing, but I look over. I go, hey man, I'm about 21 years old. I'm like, how do I get this business? How do I get this business? He goes, see the promoter, and turned around and walked out. Well, that's not the funniest part. The funniest part I got it from was situation was similar. We was at a WWF event, me and my brother and my uncle. And this is that same year. I'm about 21 years old. It's at the Huntington old field house there. And we go around a corner, and there's Don Morocco. They used to have these big drinks. They were called double dunks. And what it was a 24-ounce beer. It was, 2 beers in a cup. It was a double decker back, I guess it's just getting popular word. Double dunks, what they were called. Anyway, he's no one's around. It's just me and there's a table, and it's me and my brother and my uncle. And Morocco picks up these 4 cups and starts to leave. And we go, Morocco, hey man. And we're like 5 feet from him. He turned around and goes, yeah, I go, hey man, how do you get to this business? How do you get this business? He set the 4 beers down. He picked one of them up, down the entire 24 ounces.
Oh my God.
Turned around, burped, one of the biggest burps you can imagine. But he went, hell, I don't know, see the promoter, and picked up the other 3 beers and left. So that's where I get that story at. And not to jump too far ahead, but I put that in one of my books we'll talk about later. But when I got to go to Australia, when I got on a plane to Australia, when I walked through, I got in Hawaii. Obviously, Morocco was on the tour to set that part up. I looked and there's Don the fucking Rock Morocco, sitting on the airplane. Damn, that's cool. So everyone we were on a tour about 3-4 days into the tour. The Heels were in one bus, and then they had a Heel van. And I was at the bench. It was an empty bench and a van between us. And I thought, well, if he's going to get mad about this, I'm going to tell him, but at least I got a seat between us, And I don't know why I had it in my head he might get upset about it. It'd been nothing but cool. I go, hey, Morocco, man, I said, I'm going to tell you a story about something. I hope you don't get too out about it. And so I told him what I told you. And he just turned around. He goes, well, you looked at me, Bobby? And I go, what's he? We need to have a beer together. And I said, hell yeah. So later at night, when I was on an Australian tour, Wrestle Riot 93, they had 2 big barrels of beer every night. They had the VV Victoria Bitter, and then they had the Fosters, Yep. And so sure enough, here I was having a beer from Morocco in Australia just a few years later, so that's why I say, hell, I don't know, see the promoter, But that's my introduction to wrestling, really, man, was a little bit in Baltimore, a whole bunch of Memphis here, and some add-ons as time went on with the cable expansion, and then where I went to school at getting another cable access, TV down there. We still got the Memphis tapes there because it's in Central Kentucky, but also we picked up, WWF was getting real popular then, and NWA was I think syndicated on one of the stations there. I don't know, it wasn't Fox, but something local there.
WWR or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that, because it's way back in the day. But and I've been a fan, man. I'm married to that bitch. That's what wrestling just.
I told you I'm going to be.
To me.
I told you I'm going to be a gnat and jump all over the place. That's just because.
Yeah.
Are you still that much of a fan now? Are you? But listen, because Bobby, I'm going to throw this out there already. We're connecting. I love you. You're just honest. You're upfront and everything. Are you that much of a fan still to this day for your trainees and the business?
Yeah, I'm a fan of professional wrestling. I love it. And I think what happened, I had this happen to me prior to COVID. I got a little bit sick, and it wasn't COVID related. Although a couple people, my brother and nurse said, you probably had COVID, right? Because this was January of 2020.
Everybody did. Yeah, everybody had it.
It was January of 2020, but they didn't. They started shutting down, in March. But anyway, long story short, I was like, God damn, I'm just sitting here in this hospital room, and everything was good. Thankfully, honestly, I didn't. So that happened. I was walking. I'd been exercising, and thankfully, I'd lost some weight. And again, it was just one of those things. And doctors told me, hey, you know what? Bad luck. That's all it was. It's just some bad luck. And okay. And I'm pretty healthy, thank goodness. But just other than, sore, tired, old, and beat up, So what's new? But anyway, when they shut shit down after several months there, I was like, and the same room I'm recording in at the time was set up a little bit differently. And I'd look at this chair and I look at this couch, and I'd say, man, there's nothing happening here. Hell, if I ever get a chance or whatever, they get this thing open back up or whatever the hell is going on, I'm going to do something that I used to love and care for and give back something that means a lot to me. And that was professional wrestling. So that's kind of what happened. I even told that story on the local news. So I'm still a fan. Yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of modern wrestling. I keep up with it via friends and students and some internet, but I mostly help. I came in here, I turn on YouTube, I'm watching something, old usually, maybe something Japan, just stuff like that. So I keep up on pretty much what's going on in the business. I watch Mania every year. I watch maybe a week or two before Mania, and then that following Raw, and then hell, I haven't tuned in since then, to be honest with you. I'm somewhat aware of what's going on. I may even go to I was not dropping names or anything, but my nephew and my brother, we talked about going to Lexington this weekend. SmackDown's in town, and then Joe Pace, who owns the FTC, he had texted me the other day, and I text Charles Robinson to see if he's going to be there, because they're coming to Charleston, West Virginia as well. So we went as a group to WWE last January with the students of the Art of Grappling. Joe took us over there to Huntington, West Virginia. Charles wasn't on the show. But anyway, when I see someone I know on a show, and I'm there in that area. So I'm considering actually going to another event is what I'm getting at. And if I have a chance to see Charles, I will, because he hired into WCW the same night I did. He had his tryout in Charlotte, and he's always been really cool to me and stuff. So, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go to Lexington and watch that show or not. So, but yeah, I go to these student shows. There was one 2 weeks ago, like I was saying. I couldn't have been more happier with seeing some of these young up and coming students. Man, they put on Brock's booked it, and it turned out to be one of the hell of a show. We watched it back on at camp one day, and I have to say, and I'm being completely honest, and I don't know why I wouldn't be otherwise.
Yeah, why? Why are you gonna lie to me?
Yeah, let me make up this lie here real quick.
To me, of all people, yeah.
But no, it was one of the, if not the best student professional wrestling shows I've seen ever, and I've been to a lot of them through the years. Include, ones way back when I went to Malenko's and when I had another school many years ago in the early 2000s. And then there's some people that started a promotion, this little mom and pop shop up in West Virginia several years back. And they claimed to be professional wrestling. And I went up there and watched a couple of shows because a couple of my friends were on it. And I was like, it's borderline professional, but it can be improved, And some of those guys and girls started working a bit harder. But I have to say, since the Art of Grappling, starting back with the deal, Jillian Hall was originally there, and I have a lot of respect for her. She done really good with some of the earlier students. And I didn't come on, so she started in December, and then I didn't come on until March. So I waited a few months because I was waiting for that whole COVID thing. It finally was opening back up slowly but surely, and so it's her and I both there together at one point, and then she had to she took I don't know, she split up and went her different ways, and she's doing her own life now, and I wish her nothing but the best of luck. With that said, I've had several people at the school say this before, and I hope it holds true. Still, it's been more like we've got a good thing going, is what I always like to say. There's a good connection there. We've got a good group of guys and girls, and they work hard, and I tell them, I go over there, and I say over there because in Ohio, it's where I'm at. I'm 2 minutes from Ohio if you cross a bridge. So when I say I'm going over there, it's just I'm going a couple miles down the road.
You're going across the bridge,
West Virginia. I'm going across the bridge. I'm about 12 miles from downtown Huntington, West Virginia. So I'm like 5 minutes from the airport, but it's in West Virginia, but I'm still going over there,
Right.
So, I'm right there in a border tri-state area type deal. But when I say I'm going over there, so back to what I was getting at is, I tell them every once in a while, I remind them, I say, look here, no one's making you be here. You're grown-ass adults. You come here, you take your bumps, your hip tosses, your arm drags, your body slams, you do I give them a minimum of exercises for warm-ups, and I try to encourage them to work out throughout the week, not just when you're at camp, and those things. But with that said, you all think I'm helping you, but a lot of times when I get back from those students, they help me more than they know. And I gladly say that because I mean it. I get to get out of the house and get to give back to something that was very good to me, very rewarding to me. And I see it through the work ethic, and I see it through the efforts they put into the show. The guys and girls that are there now are just, oh man, we got a good group of people. And that's all I really want to say. I'm not going to sit here and pick out everyone and name names. I know you had a couple on the shows and this and that, but I don't want to leave anyone out, to be honest. I do want to thank Joe, the owner, for giving me an opportunity. And like I said, Brock's, put me in touch with you, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate you having several of the students on as well. It's very cool of you, man.
I love, listen, everybody has a story in professional wrestling, and I love knowing people's stories. And we're going to get more into yours here in a second. But I want to, the handful that I've had on, they speak so highly of you. They speak highly. Listen, I'm going to pull and you will probably slap me through the phone, but I'm going to pull the fourth wall down real quick. They speak so highly of each other, even if they air quotes, hate each other in the ring, they completely understand that it's a family to make, the Art of Grappling to work. And they understand that. And that's why when Brock says, hey, Mark, can you talk to so-and-so? And I'm not going to mention names either because I don't want to leave them out because I'll forget. But can you talk to so-and-so and, do this and do this? And I will do that to, the long day's end because you get that. And it helps. And I'm going to pat myself on the back a second, Bobby. It helps with promos or something, just to get random questions. And that's what this podcast or the Spotlight editions are for, because I want to help the younger group as much as I can to tell their story and to promote themselves and marketing and everything like that. That's why I love wrestling. That really is.
That's very cool.
So
very cool. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's what I'm doing. Just giving back, man. I want to see them do good. I've got people, I still stay in touch with that started at the school on day one that went their separate ways. I still want to see them good because some people left for this reason or that reason. And I've had students from an old school that I had many years ago. They're still good friends of mine to this day. They were 17, 18-year-old kids. Now they're in their, early 30s or so, and they're still out there at it, Right. And I'm like, man, it makes me so happy. And when I see them at a show, doing good, it makes me feel good. And I know there's a lot of respect there. But I try to teach that too, is this business, you're going to get out of what you put into it. And if you put out good stuff out into the world, hopefully, put everything out there you can, put the good stuff out there, and, hopefully something good will come back to you. But I put stuff out there expecting nothing. And everything that's good that's happened to me is a direct result of me going out and helping someone else, man,
Exactly.
And that's just the way it works to me. You got to put the good stuff out there, and it just comes back to you tenfold lots of times. And
that's great advice.
What I'm trying to do at the school.
That's great advice for even life outside of professional wrestling, right?
Yes, sir.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I saw a gentleman here. He's a few years older than myself, and I've known him since I was young. He played basketball and stuff. And several years back, I was at one of the stores I visit, shop at or whatever. And I was getting out of my car. I had his little Toyota, and his wife was getting out of his vehicle. And he goes, man, that sounded like an old man getting out over there. And I just looked over and laughed. I said, yeah, Charlie. I said, because I am old. They started laughing, Well, that was about 5 years ago. Since then, sadly, his wife is deceased. And I've ran into him here and there. And the same store about a month ago. And he comes in, he goes, hey, Bobby, what's good? And this guy is super good dude, and I go, I tell you what's good, Charlie. I got to keep putting it out there, and the world just keep giving it back, man.
Yep.
And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to keep on putting the good out there, brother. And that is where our conversation went, because that was what's on my mind,
Yeah.
And that's all you can do, is do your best. That's one of the things I try to live by the 4 agreements. And that's one of my agreements is try to do your best. If you're having, and I had one God about a month ago, and it was like the longest fucking 48 hours forever. It's like it's the longest 2-day week I ever had or something like that. But now, you try to string along all your good days, but I'm like, if you're having a bad day, try to make it a good day. If you're having a good day, try to make it a great day. And if you're having a great day, make it a tremendous or wonderful or fantastic day,
Yeah.
And that's like today. Today's a good day, man, because we're going to talk pro wrestling, something we both love and enjoy, and it's coming through the podcast. But yeah, and I've been looking forward to this all day.
I have too. I have the biggest smile on my face right now, Bobby.
Come on, 3 o'clock, get here. Yeah,
I'm giddy.
So that's cool.
So let me revert back to this. After you ask Jerry Lawler and Don Morocco, and they tell you to find a promoter, how about do you find a promoter? Let's get into your, finding a promoter, where you go for training, and then there's always a great training story of you like, oh, this is the worst thing in the world, right?
Yeah. Well, let's see, this was 84-ish, 85, somewhere at that time. I was 21. and I dropped out of school because I knew everything, you know.
Of course. We all do, right?
Of course,
Yeah.
I went back at 39 and finished my degree, just so you know, but still. I went
You're
back to
shitting me.
school.
That I did too. I swear to God. I'm sorry to cut you off. I did too.
No, that's congratulations.
Yeah.
That's great, because I went, the first day I went back, I had to write I took 2 classes in the communication, which my degree is in. It was April 1st, and I put April, I was 39, I was like, April Fool's Day, the only day for a grown man to return to college, you know. 39 years old, you know, April Fool's, like, who's a joke when I went through 20 years now thinking I knew everything, you know. But anyway,
Yep.
Good for you. That's good.
I joined
a
a frat.
If are listening, finish your school.
Yeah, finish your. I joined. Don't join. I don't know if frat life is a thing anymore. My first time in college, I was part of a frat, and you just know that didn't end well. So.
Yeah. Well, anyway, to answer your question, no, I was lifting weights and getting in shape, and I was just wherever I'd go to every show I could. I knew eventually I'd get into the business, you know, and I really didn't rush myself or anything. I just kept thinking there's going to be a time, there's going to be a place, you know. And finally, I ran into a guy at a local show, and I first of all, I sent out letters. I'd got some addresses on the back of a wrestling magazine, and I won't say they were promoters, but it was ads for schools. And I wrote all those people with some old black and white pictures I had taken to the gym. And so anyway, this local guy, nice enough guy, was on a small show here in my hometown, and I got out of the car and went in, and I said, they had a promoter, you know, and but he said, you know, I'll be willing to train you. And I said, okay. So I met this guy named Rick Newsom, and I drove a couple hours away from where I'm at now down in Pike County, Kentucky, and that's a big coal mining community down in there. And I went to this guy's house. He had a half-ass ring built, and he showed me a few holes, but never smarted me up very much. And he said, well, I'll try to get you booked on some shows. And so sure enough, September 1st, 1988, I had my very first match over in Hayside, Virginia. And it was just a street fight, because the first several matches I had about 12 or 15 matches. And several of the matches were street fights. Some of them I was just the manager out there. You know, little things like that. But every couple, 2 or 3 weeks, I'd go out on the road and do a couple shows. And I didn't know shit, you know. And I was, again, down in this guy's hometown. Real nice guy. He's now a retired federal agent. He worked his way up from local. Yeah, he worked his way up from. He done wrestling as a hobby. He was really good at it. But he was a local policeman that ended up being. He just worked his way up through the ranks, and he recently retired. As a federal agent, I won't say what division or anything, but man, he's a very successful guy in life. Okay. And my brother just spoke to him regarding something else just the other day, because he retired, lives in Florida. But in long story short, we're in his hometown. He's a local policeman, and we have our traditional street fight, you know, ha.
Right. And
because when we're in the ring, we're just beating the hell out of each other. But the main event, I'm pretty sure to this day, it was supposed to be a Dutch Mantel, but I honestly can't remember. But it was Jimmy Valiant and Hector Guerrero as Lasertron against Buddy Landell. And again, I think it was Dutch, but anyway, whoever the other person was, no-showed. And Buddy Landell told his promoter, this guy's name was Bo Daniel, I think was his name. And he was a local NWA promoter at the time. And again, I'll tell you when I get to meet some promoters later on, but I haven't met these promoters yet, you know.
Right.
But anyway, Buddy Landell says, hey, put that young boy right there with me. At the time, I had long blonde hair. I, suntanned a little bit out. Even though it's the Christmas time, I went to tanning beds at that time. And Buddy said, he goes, yeah. So Buddy took the promoter to the side. He'd come back and he said, hey, man, you're working twice, brother. He said, go over and tell him you want some more money. He goes, I just got $100 out of him. And so I walked over and I said, hey, man, since I'm doing double duty, can I get some extra money? And he said, yeah. And he put an extra $10 in my paycheck at night. Cash,
oh, man.
woohoo. Yeah, so I made $45 that first night, But anyway, we went out to the ring and Buddy said, just follow me. So Buddy Landell and myself went out in the ring, and I knew these guys, and I was such a fan of Jimmy Valiant, man. I still am.
Yes.
And like I love Jimmy, and like he still says today, we do his appearances, and we done. I saw him twice last year, maybe 3 times, like back, like 3 weeks in a row. And he said he'll tell the people. He said, "I've known Bobby since he was a teenager," and that's not the truth, really. That's all. I met him when I was a teenager, but I wasn't in the business yet. And when I got into the business, lo and behold, he's one of the first matches I have, And so it's Buddy and me, and it's Hector as Lasertron, and Jimmy Boogie Woogie Jimmy Valiant,
Yes.
So we get in the ring, man. I'm standing on the apron going, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And I watch, and Landell reaches up and tells the referee, he's like, he's got my hair. The referee went behind him. He pulled Lasertron's mask down, and I looked. I said, oh, fuck. This is so easy. These guys are working.
Right.
Something's going on. Who didn't smarten me up? To myself, I'm going fucking crazy. I'm watching them that close working, and I can see they're real professionals, And Buddy tagged me in, and he said something, and I just followed Lasertron's suit, and he went around making buzzing noises. I put my hand up like I'm surrendering. He put his finger in my belly button, the place popped. And then Jimmy Valiant come in. He said, "Follow my lead, brother." And he used to do this thing where he'd put his hands up, and you put your hands down. He'd get down on all fours. You get down on all fours. He'd crawl over and hike his leg up like he's pissing on you.
Yep.
And the fucking place popped. Like, oh shit! And I messed up something. I thought he said something dropping out to this day, but I ended up took a face bump. Didn't hurt myself or anything. But I think he said maybe backdrop or hip talk. Something. I don't know what the fuck it was. But I went down for Hector and just covered it up. He goes, "Hey, brother, just calm down." So at the end of the match, Jimmy Valiant grabbed me. He said, "Catch him, brother," because he'd already tagged, brought me out to the middle of the ring. And I'm standing there. Lasertron jumps off the top rope the last second. Jimmy lets my hands go. Bro, I don't even feel Hector. He just boom, floats across my body. 1, 2, 3, thanks, brother. And rolls out. I'm like, holy shit, I could get smartened up. So that's how that happened.
Holy shit.
Room. Yeah. I went in the locker room. I said, Buddy, how do I get better? You got to get trained, son. He said, boy, you need to get trained. Get you some real training. And I was like, okay. Well, I filled out them letters, this and that. Long story short, I got a call back from the Monster Factory in New Jersey, and I scheduled it. I was teaching school at the time, and I went up to New Jersey. I was a teacher's assistant at the time because I had my degree yet. Remember that story because I knew everything.
Right.
So I was teacher coach, but uncertified. And so anyway, I went to New Jersey. I took a day and went up there and met Larry Sharp and Charlie Fulton and had a little tryout in the ring. And the vibe just wasn't there. It's like, okay, so it's $2,000 and you come up here this summer, we'll train you and this and that. And I was like, okay, we'll see, But I was making contact. Did a man out of Minnesota named Marvin Joel. He'd written this really nice, kind letter. He was friends with Larry Malenko and a lady named Phyllis Lee out of Tampa, Florida. And he sent me some flyers about the Malenkos. And he said they're the best craftsmen in the business. And something about that line got my attention. And I had buddies that lived in Orlando that were bartenders, and they was always looking for a roommate. And a room wasn't open at Tampa yet. I didn't really know anyone down there yet. But I knew if I could get to Orlando, I could commute back and forth to Tampa, like 90 miles. So I called my buddies that were bartenders and said, hey, y'all need a roommate? And I said, yeah, we just lost one. Come on down. So I packed up, had a little Chevette, and got in it and packed pretty much everything I owned, which was a box full of clothes, I guess.
Those Chevettes were small as hell, by the way. My parents had one. They were small as hell. So
brother,
yeah.
And you cannot kill those damn things.
You couldn't, though.
I wrecked. I hit a deer coming home from midnight shift one night and knocked the whole front end grill off, busted a side mirror off. I drove that son of a bitch. I went over a hill in Kentucky. How the hell I even lived. Had to get a tow truck to come pull me up. So that, and I was in Orlando on I-4 in a damn thunderstorm middle of the day, and we were selling Panama Jack suntan lotion. And do you remember how the little back windows had that little, they's barely open?
Yeah, a minimum crack, yes.
Minimum crack. Well, here's what happened. My buddy and I were selling suntan lotion. Started storming, so we was going to turn our inventory in on a Friday. I started spinning that car around, and went over into a sewage canal.
Holy shit.
On I-4, and my tote of clothes went right out one of those back windows, knocked the whole back triangular window out. So mine opened up all the way at that car was so beat up, I couldn't kill it. And anyway, out there on I-4, there's all that Panama Jack, T-shirts, hats, sunglasses, sun lotion. I said, fuck that place. I gathered what I could and turned it in, got the car, turned in, got my last check. They said, hey, I don't know anything. I said, you want us out there on I-4? I just about got killed. And so that goes back to that Chevette story. So that's where I was at. And then finally I went. So what happened was I was commuting back and forth. I went to Malenko's, and Labor Day in September. Been there all summer commuting, and a room opened up, and I packed my bags and packed up that little Chevette, all 3 windows and all. That little beat up car took me everywhere. But anyway, I went to Malenko's, and I got there, and I started on that Tuesday after Labor Day. There was Tuesday and Wednesdays, 4 to 6 was open until they stayed there to 8, but had open gym. Different people had different shifts and stuff. So I was there from the time the doors opened to they closed, and I didn't miss. And at that time I was delivering pizzas in that little Chevette to pay for my wrestling lessons.
My God, that Chevette delivered everything.
Hey, brother, it did. I'm gonna tell you, it really did. A little 87 Chevette, man, navy blue. That bastard was tough. But anyway, I signed with the Malenko's and started training, man, and got to know him. And after about 4 months, Dean started coming over and helping some, and then they was doing shooting style on Sundays, and Carl Gotch would come over there on Sundays. At the time, him and Larry had up and down. They were like best friends, but sometimes, business-wise, they were just different locations and what have you. And then Joe Malenko and all these guys, Willie Wilkinson Jr., all these tough shooters. He was in, I can't think of the karate guy from down in Miami. Bart Davis, he came up. He had some tough guys on Sundays, and I'd watch them train and sometimes be a dummy, but by being a dummy. But, you learn that way too, And I was young and athletic, but I was mostly there for the pro style. And, so that's one of Larry's students, so don't kill them, Professor Malenko's. So I was just lending my body, for an early class or something, but I wasn't in there trying to do what they were doing because I'd have got killed. And I see these guys nowadays on MMA and UFC and stuff, man, some legit tough guys out there,
Yeah.
But I was with the pro wrestlers, I'm over here on a different side of the coin, man, doing my thing, what I did. And I learned so much. I did that for 4 months before, I won't say I missed, but they booked me, pretty regular for Suncoast Pro Wrestling. And then Larry had a UWF down there, like a Universal Wrestling. It was like for student shows, and he brought in guys that worked there, years before, like I mentioned. And finally piddled around enough to get a break, So
yeah,
Jim Cornette. I went to Canada, Australia, South Africa, Australia, but Jim Cornette was the first one to give me my first USA big break at the USA. So I jumped around there in just a second. So
no, that's where I was going to go next, because Smokey Mountain and Smokey Mountain championship. That was your, I'll call it heyday as like achievements and everything. And
yeah,
you can yell at me when we meet up. I don't know how to question this any other way. It's stuck in my head. You were top guy in Smokey Mountain. Then you kind of trickle over to WCW back to like enhancement talent. Is that kind of a culture shock? And we'll talk about Jim and Smokey there.
Yeah. And I could have started, the thing was, I could have started with WCW several months before, maybe even a year before I started there. I had went to Knoxville and saw Kevin Sullivan, who was always very, very good to me and still is to this day. And Smoke, he knew Smoke, he'd worked Smoke, he didn't shut down. He was there for a nitro. And he said, Bobby, if you want a job, call the office on Monday, call Paul. Well, I knew Paul from Tampa, and so I called the office on that Monday and talked to Paul, about possibly coming in. It just, at the time, they weren't doing contracts and they were just doing minimum TVs.
Right.
And I was like, Paul said, well, why don't you come to Macon, Georgia, and I can give you this amount of dollars, blah, blah. I said, Paul, I said, that's a long ass ride. I said, I'm making, it was like $200, $250 with some gas thrown in. I said, Paul, not to brag. I said, but I'm making that here at home 2 and 3 days a week because I'm fresh off Smokey Mountain TV, and people, these promoters are out there still,
promoters.
Yeah. But anyway, I was, I was booking myself out when Smokey shut down for a couple $100, plus gimmick sales. And so I'm getting to answer your question. And so when I had went to Japan a couple of times, like I said, I'd been to Australia, I'd been to South Africa, I'd been to Canada, different tours, and had a lot of experience. But when Smokey shut down, man, it's just a matter of time, Atlanta or WCW or whatever. WWE called me the day after I'm backing up here to make sure I get my story right. To answer your question, it's a fucking paycheck. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
I went there.
Yes.
I loved it. I loved it because it was great money, and I got paid very well there to do what I did. The night I tried out in Charlotte, Terry Taylor come to me and he said, "This is what I'm offering. This is what I'm permitted to offer you." And I knew what I was making in the quote real world, doing these little wrestling gigs on a weekend and doing some personal training and picking up odd jobs here and there. And I went to Dean Malenko and I went to Shaw Walkman, spoke to him. He goes, that's pretty good, And so I went to Dean. He goes, Bobby, is it more than what you're making now? And I go, yeah. And he goes, then what would Dad tell you? And I go, take the fucking job. He goes, exactly. Why are you asking me for it? I'm like, okay, because it was quite a bit more what I was making, So I was like, I went back to Terry and said, hey, where do I sign? And he goes, just hang on. We'll get with you later on this evening. But and the thing about it was there was a couple of times in WCW where, hey, we're going to do this with you. And I knew at the beginning what was going to happen, but I was like, Terry had told me something, and Arn had told me something, and all of them, Kevin, we had these ideas, but basically it got nowhere because, they already had guys from the power plant, yep, and they had their pick, and they was going to do this, and it was like, okay, you know what? I kicked out of Alex Wright's finish on a TV taping for a Saturday night, a German suplex 1-2, and I kept on rolling. And I about cost myself a job. I went right to the war room, and Terry was like looking at me, goes, what do you do that for? I go, what? And he goes, you know what? And I go, and then Arn sitting back there and laughing, and Flair's back there laughing. He goes, Bobby, let me explain something to you. And he goes, this isn't in the territories anymore. He said, this is TV. And he said, you'll be putting guys over, and you're going to have some guys we're going to put you over on. He goes, whatever you do, take the full 3 count on TV. And I said, yes, sir. And he goes, it's not like territories where you have to kick out right in the 3 and stay strong. He said, we're TV. He said, it's just when you go over, they're going to lay there for you 1, 2, 3. We expect you to do the same. I shook his hand. I said, yes, sir, I got you. And I had a problem. I have a problem. The job is like, I was trying to stay strong. It's just I wasn't used to that referee like I was Mark Curtis, Right. So I raised up and kept on rolling. And of course, it's taped. They covered it. I'm, edited it or whatever for that Saturday. But so you learn these things as you go. Because I was trying to keep myself strong, thinking, it's TV, it's territory. I got to wrestle again next week in the same town or next month in the same town, and that wasn't the case at all. But yeah, Smokey Mountain to me, I made good money, but as you know, it wasn't the greatest of money. But Cornette done what he could. But then also I got, gimmick money every week. Right. So it's not like I was getting rich, but I was doing very good at something I really loved doing. And we had such a good talent, locker room full of talent, baby facing the heels. And we had younger guys to older guys, We had a happy mix right there, man. And traveling every day with this guy and that guy, learning and listening. And like I said, I already been to Canada. One time I was there for 17 weeks. Another time I was there for 18 weeks. And you just sitting there in the back of the car, listening to the booker and listening to the show. And you learn so much just listening in the backseat of a car sometimes, I've trained some guys. One of my friends from Australia had Mark Mercedes had sent a young guy to me several years ago. and I had a ring, and I'd take them and I'd train them and show them this, show them that, and he'd get on some shows here. But he said, Bobby, I learned more in that 2 months staying at your house, sleeping on your couch, sitting there with you, and you was telling me stories, and this is how this worked, watching matches. I learned more on the couch listening to you than I did, at the actual training school, And I tell people that you can learn so much more just getting in the car. That's why I go ahead and plug my book, Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel. That's why I wrote my book, and that was just like we're sitting down, having a beer, watching sports on TV, or getting in the car and going down the road to the next town. Like we're just two gentlemen discussing business, as Art would say, and you're just talking. And so that's when Cornette, it took me 9 months. That's the other thing that people don't understand either. I didn't just jump in Smokey Mountain, become an overnight success. Tommy Rogers and he used to work out the same gym in Tampa. And he said, we was at the gym one day, hey, Bobby, Jimmy's starting something up near your house. Well, everyone thought I lived in the Knoxville area for some reason. Guess the way I talked, I don't know. And, but anyway, and I don't take offense that I'm just saying, like Kentucky, Tennessee, they don't realize it is different. West Virginia,
right.
They are differences. But anyway, I said, really? He goes, yeah, let me give you his number. So I called that number, and Jim Cornette answered, and I told him, he goes, hey, Bobby, I know who you are. He goes, I'm busy right now. He goes, I'll call you back in a few minutes. Well, I never got to call him back, but I saw Tommy the next day at the gym. And he goes, hey, did you talk to Corny? And I was like, I told him what happened. He goes, what are you doing tonight? And I go, I'll be home. He goes, well, be around 9 o'clock. Jimmy's going to call you. So sure enough, man, Cornette called me that night. And he said, Bobby, so I apologize about last night, but man, I've got a lot of things going on. And I go, well, I'm still down here in Florida. And, he goes, yeah, I'm not full time yet. When I get there, I'll keep you in mind. He hadn't even shot, he had shot a set of TV tapings at that time. And I said, that'd be great. Well, that was in April. Come June, I was heading to Canada. So I stopped by Kentucky, visit my parents, my family for a couple of days, and before I traveling out to Canada. And Smokey Mountain was holding a show about an hour from my house. Well, I drove up there, walk in, I wait, and here comes Cornette. And man, we shook hands. I had some new pictures made. He goes, yeah, Bobby, all right, man, it's nice meeting you in person, blah, blah. And he goes, what you got going on? I said, I'm actually going to go book to Canada for the next 18 weeks. And he goes, that's great. Why don't you stick around for the show and see where you might fit in at? I said, I'd love to. Well, of course, I knew Robert Gibson I'd met before. Scott Armstrong was there, who I didn't meet. But Brian Lee I'd known too. Hey, how you guys doing? Just, in passing. But Robert, I knew him. I'm not really good at the time like I do now, but, he's like, hey, you think about coming in? Like, well, I'm just told what Jimmy told me, So long story short, I go to Canada, I go to Australia, and they had the Bluegrass Brawl, and Robert Gibson gets hurt. And so Cornette calls me up and says, hey, how would you like to have a tryout? I said, when, where? He said, this Sunday in Beckley, West Virginia. And he put me with Brian Lee. And
wow.
He goes, you got a problem? He goes, you got a problem putting Brian over? It's me and Brian and Jimmy staying in the bathroom. And he goes, this is Brian Lee. He's our champion. He goes, TV champion right now. He's one of our first champions. You care to put him out? I said, Jimmy, look at him. And I was just come up from Australia. I got picked. I had the tan going on. I had the hair going on. Like I'm a typical heel look,
right.
At the time. And I go, Jimmy, he's not, what is he, 6'8", 300 pounds, brother. What's your finish? And he started laughing, And I said, I'll meet you in the ring, whatever you want to do. He goes, no, you're the heel, you call it. So I got in the ring, and Brian Lee and Brian Curtis, they're both like, just call a match. So I'm taking this drop, do that, blah, blah. And Brian's like, I dare him to book you. I'm like, what the fuck's he even talking about? I dare you. But he's saying it in a good way. And anyway, I was like, got at the end of the night, Cornette settled up with me, him and Sandy Scott. Like, hey, man, that was good. Appreciate you coming in. If we get something, we'll keep you in mind. And that was in March of that year. And like I said, about a month later, 3 weeks later, Robert Gibson got hurt. Jimmy called me and said, Bobby, we're going to be in Kentucky like the next 4 days, and Robert can't make it. You want to fill in? I'm like, yes, sir. Well, the first, they moved Tim Horner up to wrestle with Ricky in the main event status. But I was first match 4 nights in a row against Dr. Tom Pritchard, who was doing double duty because he's coming back out with the Heavenly Body, with Jim Cornette as manager. So 4 nights in a row, here I am working for the boss that close, and he's managing Dr. Tom. And all I got to do is listen to Dr. Tom in the ring. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And we're in these little small towns in Kentucky, and so Corny could see me working and with Tom, so I was like, that got me a job. And he goes, hey, you want to come to TV?
Sure. Quick, you got a job, yeah.
Come to TV. He kept me semi-strong. He put me, fucking people like Bobby Eaton. How can you not have a good match with Bobby Eaton, And I knew Bobby. He's one of the first people I ever met for even got in a business. Bobby used to come to this area, and he was one of the first, most nicest guys ever. You'll never hear anything bad about Bobby, but we had befriended each other behind that curtain relationship of the curtain fan, and he'd always talk to me and real cool with me. So here I'm wrestling him, Anyway, Cornette come to me and he said, and I had these flame stuff already made up. I just didn't use it because I wasn't sure what he wanted me to do because I'm just on TV. And as doing what he asked me to do, and he said, do you got anything more flashy? Because I wore black and red in honor of the Malenko colors, black boots with red laces, black trunks with red lettering. I said, actually, I do. And we were at this little town in West Virginia. And I said, actually, I do it. I pulled up my gym bag and I said, here you go. And I showed him them flame pants and the knee pads. And
those are what I remember.
He said, that's what I want. Now I'm wear that. He goes, I told you someone here likes you. And I go, all right, man. So that's when I got my biggest break. He just started like, hey, what about this idea here? Would you like to be the junior heavyweight champion? I got this young kid coming in. I'm like, fuck yeah. You know who that young kid was? Chris Candido.
Yeah.
So I'll lead you right into that for you.
You did, and yeah, we could go for hours because, oh my God. But yeah, one of the big things I wanted to talk about is you working with Chris Candido, one of my favorites of all times. I love the ECW stuff. I'm probably one of not so many. I loved it when he was a body Donna. It just showed that he could do everything in the professional wrestling business. So, all right, that's all I have to say. You can tell me everything about working with Candido. Then.
Oh, well, as he would say, Bobby Blaze, my favorite opponent. And he might have said it to other people too through the years, and that's cool. But no, it was a Sunday afternoon. We was in Knoxville, and Jimmy had already told me a lot about the guy. And I was in the back of the arena, and I had already worked. This young guy come walking up to me, and I had an idea who it was. And he goes, hey, I'm Chris Candido. And I say, I'm Bobby Blaze. Nice to meet you. I said, I've heard a lot of good things about you. He goes, yeah, I'm coming in here. He's got a starting date. And he goes, man, I'm finishing up in Memphis, blah, blah. I go, man, looking forward to it. And, man, he was easy, so easy to work with, ideas. We had a lot of similar ideas. Young, athletic, he had such a good attitude. And you could just tell a talent right off the bat, his desire to get out there and do something different. And, we could push each other right to the limit. Corey let us do that, and I appreciate and respect that so much. And I've heard him on podcasts and say, well, Bobby did this and Chris did that. And he goes, yeah, but they knew if they'd done more thing than that, we were jerking them because it would have been too much. So we each get to do one big flying spot, one big flying move. I took the top rope power bomb, and when he come up to me and asked me about that, I said, are you fucking crazy? I said, what the fuck are you thinking? I said, I ain't taking that. He goes, let me tell you. And I go, no, let me tell you, And I was a couple years older than him. And I'm like, hold on here, man. He goes, no, I can lift you up. I can do. I said, hell, I know that, Chris. I'm in the ring with you. I know how fucking strong you are. And we're in a hallway. We're not arguing. We're just talking, I'm like, well, hell, I don't know. He goes, man, I've just been thinking about it. So anyway, we had a 4-day run. It was the Thanksgiving Thunder Tour. So we already worked several matches. And like, man, I loved working with the guy. And so we got there for the first night of Powerbomb. And he goes, now listen, when I Powerbomb you, I'm going to jump off the top rope. You jump up and drop kick me in midair, and I'll sell the fuck out of it. I go, okay. Well, yeah, I've taken Powerbombs before, but off that top rope, man, boom, it jarred every fucking bone in my body. I just crumbled up,
It's a different story.
It's a diff for sure. I crumbled up, crunch, boom, up, boom, boom. And I look up, and Chris is climbing up, and sure enough, and we're at Hazard, Kentucky. And as sure as I look up, Chris starts to jump. I jump from the mat. I catch him midway through the air. At this point, everyone's just being completely quiet because they don't know what the fuck they saw me take. They think I'm dead.
I'm sorry.
But I drop kick him. No, there's no reaction. And I drop kick him, and there's still no reaction because people are like, what the fuck are we watching here? And then, I guess I went for the pin or whatever. Anyway, we get through the match, and go through the back, and people are like, you guys are crazy. Are you okay? Well, here comes Kevin Sullivan, and he comes down through there in that same little hallway, and he says, guys, can I talk to you? Well, yes, sir, and of course, now people are starting to talk like, that was pretty fucking crazy,
Right.
Kevin goes, here's what you need to do. He goes, that was fantastic. He goes, are you okay? I'm like, yes, sir. Yeah, he took care of me. He goes, Chris, that's so dangerous. You take care of him. You all plan on doing this again? Yeah, we got 3 more nights of it. What we planned on. He goes, here's what you do. And this Kevin Sullivan, he goes, Bobby, when you take the bump, don't move. Chris, go up to the top rope, climb back down, come in. Bobby, be dead weight. Don't move. Chris, you grab him by the tights, grab him by the hair, let him flop down. Don't pick him up yet. Bobby, just no sell it. They'll think he's dead. Chris, finally, dead weight. Bobby, do not help him. Make it a struggle. Chris, pick him up and then go from there. And I shit you not, the next 3 nights, I took that bump. Of course, we was in bigger towns then too. We was in Knoxville, Johnson City, and Morristown or Barberville, our regular towns, because Hazard was just a maybe every 3-month town. But the next 3 were our regular towns. So they knew more of our style.
Right.
And they saw that big bump and they fucking went nuts. And then when Chris went to pick me up, and he was selling it, looking around like, oh fuck, I can't lift him up, and I'm not getting on my knees helping him. Fucking place went nuts. I mean, it was really that good. And we're like, that damn Sullivan, who I still think him and Jim Cornette, 2 of the greatest minds in the wrestling business ever.
Agreed.
But all because he saw that. He said, if you're gonna do it, here's the answer. But when he said it, what's so funny was we're in the hallway and he's telling us about the reality. He goes, what are you going to do next? I can cut his head off with a machete? Like that. And we're both kind of laughed like you did, right?
Right.
And then he gets done with his little speech. I'm getting chills telling you this. And
I am too.
Chris and I and him standing there, and Kevin goes, excuse me, I got to go beat up Brian Lee in an Asian spike match. And they started walking off. And we just look at each other and start fucking die laughing. Because he's telling us about this big spot we did. What we going to do, cut someone's fucking head off machete? And he goes, I go get an Asian spike match with Brian Lee. Like, what the fuck?
Fuck.
It was good sense, man. Yeah, it was good.
We could go on and on about your past. I do want to give you time though, because this is essentially, listen, this is why you came on. So I want to give you time for, Art of Grappling, and let's talk about that. For how did you get involved with that? And I don't want you to name kids but do you see the future in the Art of Grappling? And can you see some that are going to be up on WWF, Impact, whatever the hell, TNA, whatever the hell it's called anymore, and AEW? Like, you see these progressions. So let's talk about that, because you've heard of all the Can Crushers before. So
yeah, well, Joe Pace, again, I'll give him a shout out because he's the owner of FTC, and I've known Joe. We was talking the other night, this summer, it's going on 9 years. And he come to me, shook my hand like a man, told me his name, and he said he's going to do several things involving wrestling, and he's held up to it. And like I said earlier, they started this Art of Grappling, and I didn't go for the first couple months due to COVID. And finally I went over there, and we got a building that had a ring in it. Now we've got a bigger building that had 2 rings in it, and MMA going on, and it's just a lot of stuff. With the gym to it, it's just really cool. But these students, when I speak of them, I don't want to leave out names or miss anyone, but we've got some girls that have just done really, really good. Some went to OVW, some went to one of them is getting booked about every other weekend, 3 or 4 nights a week. Last week she worked 4 times. Brox and Troy, they were there since day one. Again, I'm not trying to leave anyone, but they've been really good students, and they've also are good men, and they're in there working their ass off and helping and training and coaching. and putting shows together and it's really good. And I see people, I think some of them got a chance to go to, again, Ring of Honor, Impact, where the fuck, AEW. Some of them are actually getting some work, behind the scenes, doing some security here, showing up there. And I think it's just a matter of time before a couple of them probably do get some TV time. I don't know how much. I know a couple of them went down and worked for OVW, and it's not a dig for OVW, but it's not what it used to be, as more of a feeder system. I know he's, still there, and I know Al does a great job, and Bastion does a great job with those guys and girls. But I think our kids could go down. I say kids or young adults could go down there and have a good competitive match with anyone because the training is that good. We've had seminars before, people coming in, and we just had Rip Rogers come in a couple of weeks ago. And that was such a learning experience for our students. They get to see someone like that. And a couple of us taking Tom Pritchard's seminars before. And what's so funny is they'll come back and they'll say, I was listening to Tom the other day, and I close my eyes, I hear Bobby Blaze.
Yep.
And I go, Tom don't cuss like I do, does he? I go, yeah, a little bit. I was joking. I know Tom. And then Rip, as soon as he left the other day, we got back to camp on Tuesday or whatever it was, and a couple of them said, well, first of all, thanks for coming to see Rip the other day. And if you wonder, I can't decide who cusses more, Rip Rogers or Bobby Blaze. And I go, well, I'm in good company if that's what you hear. I just say it the way I say it. This is how you do a fucking headlock, or I'll say, it's not because I know what the hell I'm talking about. It's because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And let me show you. 'Cause I've been there, done that, and I show you. It's just the way I communicate. It's different than what someone else may do. But hey, it's not for the ill of heart or fucking weak-hearted.
Right.
I just tell them, you're a grown-ass adult. You're a grown-ass man. You're here because you want to be here. You make something happen, Sure, I'll put a nice word in for you to someone if it means something or whatever, and I'll try to help you out the best way I can because I want to see you do good, and I mean that for everyone. And that's not just in wrestling, that's life. I want to see people doing good. If you got a business or you're trying to write a book or you got a career, I want to see you succeed in that. And so that's why I come back to the wrestling part. I don't want to see, I say kids, whatever the students or what have you, I don't want to see them fail. I'm not trying to set them up for failure. I'm trying to set them up for success. That they go somewhere and they say, well, who trained you? They said, Bobby Blaze. What means something? And there's a difference. And a couple of them tell you, I don't train everyone there. I help a lot of people. I only train a few. Right. Because some people, they already know everything. They think they know everything. And they're going to do this and do that no matter what the fuck I say. And you know what? Let them do it. All I can tell them is see the fucking promoter. Because I'll help you. I'm not going to be an asshole and not help you. But if you don't take away from what I'm trying to teach, I'm sorry. But if you're there and you want to train, I'm going to train you and show you how to do things the right way because I don't want to see you fail. And because I've had the opposite effect of that. And fortunately, that wasn't in the wrestling business. That was in, like I said, a whole nother career path, dealing in communication. I'm like, I'm shaking my head right now, like you can see me, and I'm like,
oh, I can hear your head.
Who wants to put someone on that path? So that's why the Art of Grappling, the students are doing really good. We've got a couple new students. I'm sure they're going to be fine too. We got a couple young people that have joined up, just graduated high school, and some of them want to go to college, and we've got a person right now going to college full time, working and doing shows. And the student started the other day. They're going to start college this fall, and they're like, "Hey, you're 18 years old, 19 years old. This is what you want. I think you want to be a referee." Like, yeah, this is great. It's a great opportunity for you to have some fun, and see where it goes. So I just, I'm running out of things to say about it except for see the fucking promoter. That's all I can tell you.
No, I've said this. I've said this a couple of times that I've had a handful of them on, and they speak so highly of you, and a lot of them said the same thing, that you help everyone, but if there's that jackwagon, the dickhead in the class, you didn't train him, and I love that idea because. If I come in and I'm Mr. Cock of the Walk thinking I know everything, you'll help me tie my shoes, you'll help me do whatever that needs done, but you're not putting your name on me because I'm a fuckhead and I'm going to ruin your name in the business. That I completely understand that, Bobby. I would do the same thing. So
yeah. And I teach this a lot of things that I tell these students this, and I mean it. And I go to these shows, and we've got a lot of upcoming shows this rest of the summer. We have a Midnight Madness show. We've got several county fairs we've done last year, and we're going to do again this year. But I try to tell them things also about, like, there's a professional etiquette around the world of professional wrestling that's adopted and accepted worldwide, and that is you shake everyone's hand.
Yes, you do.
I shake your hand when I get to that building because I may not know you. And next thing you know, we have to work together.
Yep.
You may be my referee, you may be my manager, or you may be in a main event against me or with me, So you introduce yourself. Hey, I'm Bobby Blaze. Nice to meet you. Yeah. And I try to tell them that, and then wipe your feet before you get in a ring. That ring is your home. That's where you do your work. That's the office, man. And yeah, it's going to get dirty in anyway, but let's keep it to a minimum. Let's respect it. I had to tell a couple of them this. You see a veteran, anyone actually, it doesn't have to be a veteran. This is just common fucking courtesy. You see someone put their bag on a chair and sit there and put their boots there, that's theirs. Don't go fucking sitting in it. You don't do it in a classroom. You don't do it at the office. You don't go 3 offices down and sit in your buddy's cubicle. That's his shit. And so I try to tell them these little things, and be a professional. Don't be running around here at the arena acting like a goddamn goof. Marking out for everyone. No, be professional. Go to catering, shake everyone's hand, eat, enjoy yourself. Talk to the people you know. Introduce yourself to the people you don't know. Talk wrestling. What's going on? They probably got a maybe going through some of the same things you're going through. They're nervous too, but they're glad to be at that show. You can say, hey, man, we're going to work together tonight, or I've seen your work before. I really admire it. Whatever it is, just be glad that you're at that show,
Yeah.
And so I try to teach them those things that, if you go somewhere and you never have been there before, and the promoter is taking a chance on booking you, or the person said, hey, use this person if you can, they give you a chance, and you're running like a fucking goof, chances are you ain't coming back,
Chances are you're not coming back.
People see that.
Yep.
Yeah, and chances are, if I know you're a goof, I'm probably not going to mention you to too many people. If they say, what do you think about this person? I'm going to say, probably not a lot,
Yeah.
And I tell people this too. Sometimes it's not who I talk to, it's who I don't talk to, because I've extended and expelled all my breath I can, because you just don't get it. But please hang in there. You might, and some do and some don't. And we're in a situation right now where most of the students that's at Art of Grappling are doing very, very good. They listen, they learn, that they work around their different shifts of work. I can't say enough good things about them, but also I admire the most of all, some of the work ethic they put into that ring, to the ring work. They do know, hey, I just got off a shift and I'm going to get that ring for a couple hours. And I try to tell them while they're there. And I have to tell myself this sometimes. And while I'm there for that, say, 2-hour period or whatever, don't worry about anything but wrestling. And if you love wrestling, I don't mean it's mean, but don't worry about your wife and kids and dogs and bills and what do you got to do next, whatever. Just come here and get away from the real world. This is our pretend right here. Don't let the people see the pretend. Don't let them see behind that curtain. So while we're here, we're perfecting our art. We're perfecting our craft. And I think professional wrestling, there is an art form to it. I think there's craftsmen in this business, and I've seen them, and I've got to work with some of the best in the world. And I mean that sincerely. And so when you're putting into that, you don't need to worry about anything else for that couple hours a week, how many days you go, 2, 3, 4, whatever, how many hours you're there. That's your baby. And that's what you want to achieve. That's the way I try to look at it, So while I'm there, I do the same thing. Like, I try not to worry about too much. I might be hurting really bad that one day. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to bitch about it because these kids are too. Or, got a bill due. Well, they got bills too,
Right.
Let's not talk about that today. Let's talk about, hey, let's do hip tosses. Let's do abdominal stretches. What are we going to do?
Learn how to do a fucking headlock. Yeah, right.
There you go. Exactly.
I have one more question for you, and then I'll let you promote. I want you to talk about your books and where you can buy them and stuff like that. But my big question for you, and I know you've worked millions of people, and that's no goddamn lie. Is there somebody that you wanted to share the ring with that you didn't have the opportunity?
I could sit here and lie and bullshit my way through that answer and say no, because I got to work with so many good people. But I don't know how I would have done. I have an idea how I would have done. And the two people that really come to mind, Ric Flair and Terry Funk, met them both. And those two, Terry's probably my all-time favorite. Depending on what point in my career, could have had a good match with those guys. The other one would be this is just putting this out there. Harley Race, but I think Harley would have just killed me.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much would I've gotten? I don't know if he's called a match or whatever, because it's different time periods in life.
He would have beat your ass, Bobby. I love you, but he would have beat your ass.
But truthfully, he'd have killed me.
Yeah.
Shit, he'd be smoking a cigarette in one hand, drinking a beer at the other, and I'm still fucking pinning myself. Well, you kidding me?
And that's no disrespect to you. That's Harley Race.
No. But as a closer to so yeah, I joke about it now, but yeah, it's true. But no, I have to say honestly, I don't regret not being able to, because I met both. I met Harley too, but I beaten those guys. I'd have loved to at one point been able to share a ring with, have a match with Flair or with Terry Funk, and it could have been any kind. It could have been. I would have preferred not to be in an enhancement type match, but like one an independent or a show where, hey man, kid, we're gonna do this, we'll get this in,
Right.
And actually do it. I think I could have done it with Funk a lot easier than Flair, but I think I could have, done some enhancement with Flair and done my job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And but I don't regret it. But that's who comes to mind off the top of my head, man.
Nice. I'd love to see. Flair still wants to wrestle. Let's get one more match between you and Flair. Let's do it.
I'm done. I'm tapped out, brother.
Somebody's gonna grab that in the dirt sheets and say Bobby Blaze challenges Ric Flair next Starrcade or whatever. Yeah.
There you go. Well, if it happens, it happens. But I want his pay plus $1 more.
Touche. And I get 10% for booking it. I'm the fucking promoter. Remember?
There you go. Fuck yeah. See the promoter. That's all I can tell you.
So let's talk about your books real quick. And then I kept you long. I apologize. But let's tell everybody about your books out there. And, do you have any merch if anybody wants to reach out to you? I know you probably have some stuff at shows or anybody. But listen, people might be listening in San Francisco. And they're like, oh, Bobby fucking Blaze. Yeah, I want his book. How do I get all this stuff?
Well, here's what you do. First of all, it's very important to listen up because it's about to change. Both books are available on Amazon, okay? You can go to Amazon. It's under Bobby Blaze Smedley. But my first book is called Pin Me, Pay Me, How Boots Will Travel. And my second book is called The Educational Wrestler I Kicked Out on 2. Now, those books are currently $14.95 each on the Amazon. And they're getting ready to go up a couple of dollars because I just received a letter and an email the other day due to printing costs and shipping costs and things like that. Go ahead, prepare life. And this hasn't happened since my one book's been out for 6 years now. Kept the same price, $14.95. If you follow me on social media, I do not have Facebook. I'm on Twitter at Bobby Blaze 744. Instagram, Bobby Blaze 744. If you want a signed copy, those are $5 extra. They're $20, and that's what I generally sell them for the show. And also, you have to include shipping and handling on that, but I will ship one out to you personally. I've done that plenty of times. But the easiest thing to do, honestly, is get it off Amazon. If you buy it off Amazon and you come up to me at a show, there is no fee to sign it. I'm not one of those assholes that charge you to sign something unless I'm at an event and the promoter again. They tell you, you have to have a $5 minimum fee of signing. You have to do this and do that, and you have to keep it competitive with I have 8x10s for sale for $10 a pop. Again, that's just stuff I sell at the anytime I'm doing a personal appearance or WrestleCade or one of those type deals. We do got a big event coming to the Ashland tri-state area, October the 6th, I think, maybe 7th, I'm sure, on a Saturday, but it's WrestleCon 5.
Yep.
There's a really big deal that comes around here. They do a really good job at it. The last couple have been excellent. So I'm glad to be a part of that because they're my hometown and I love promoting, wrestling in this area. I don't personally promote it. I'm not the goddamn promoter.
See? I was going to throw you under the bus there.
I'm promoting them. Say, hey.
You're marketing it.
You're marketing it.
Yeah.
Yes. I think, you've got some big names that come in on these shows, and I'm really excited about that. They use the athletes, and there are a couple of professionals over at the Art of Grappling, that are at that level now, that are, up to intermediate level or up to professional level, do get out and get paid, wrestling. So I market those people and those things. Let's put it that way. Yes, but safely. But yeah, hit me up at Bobby Blaze 744 on Instagram or Twitter and order my book on Amazon. I think it goes up the end of this month, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure what the price will be. That'll be determined. But right now, they are only $14.95. And if you have Prime, they ship them. You get it with a day or so. So it's pretty easy to do it that way. And I appreciate that very much. Now, with that said, the ebook will stay the same. I think they're both $4.99, if I'm not mistaken, to just download to your Kindle or using the Kindle app. You can do that. I think Pin Me, Pay Me is actually going to do I put in for what's called book promotional deal. It'll start off one day, 99 cents, $4.99. So it'll be 99 cents one day, $1.99 the next, $2.99, $3.99, then back to. So it'll be a 5-day promotional thing. So you might want to look for that because hell, you can get a book for 99 cents. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
It's got 100, and I can't believe this. That book has 172 reviews, if I'm not mistaken. And the second book has about maybe 30, maybe 25 or 30. I'm not sure about that. But I was surprised because I ran an ad on Twitter the other day, and it was I think I had 172 reviews on Pin Me, Pay Me, and I like that. And it averages out to a 4.5.
Nice.
Wonders, yeah. And it has I've got a couple 1-star, and I've had one remark removed. You can do it as an author. You can go and ask Amazon, hey, this review isn't fair. And all I ask for, and if you've read my book, go in there and give me a rating. Give me a fair and honest review. But I had to ask Amazon. I got a 1-star review, and it's a book report or book review. You know what it said?
Yeah.
Bobby sucks.
Oh, fuck that guy.
That might be true, but you know what?
It has nothing to do with the book.
Business has nothing to do with the books. When old Amazon, they sent me a nice response that, dear Mr. Smelly, yeah, we understand. That is not a review. They removed it, With that said, if you leave a 1-star, leave a review about the book,
Right.
One of the best reviews I ever got was 3 stars. And I tell you why, because I read it. And they tell you not to get caught up on Amazon. I don't go back and forth from there. If I see you, if I know you, I'll send you a note, social media or whatever, if I see you in person or however that may work. But I don't do it on Amazon. But this guy wrote this review, and I read it, and I'm like, holy shit. I'd run right out. If this wasn't my book, I'd run right out and buy it right now. I went back and looked. He had 4 products. 3 of them were books, and one of them was like a Black & Decker blender. And I shit you not, all of them, he gave a 3-star review. And I read each review. And I said, I already read them 3 books. And I said, my God, this guy, and he wrote so good. And I want to run out and buy that blender. But see, to him, he must have been a tough critic because I'm sitting there going, every one of these reviews are better. It was better written. Even though he gave me a 3-star, it was better written than some 5-star reviews I've gotten. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect sense.
So if you give me a 5-star, that's great. But hey, if you just are fair and honest, that's all I appreciate. If it's a 4 to you, there's no hard feelings. If it's a 2 to you, there's no hard feelings. It's what you think about it. What you think about the actual book, what the stories are, what it means to you. And I appreciate that, So, but But anyway, thanks for letting me plug that. Thanks for having me on your show, man. Mark, it's been great, man.
Bobby, I've had a blast. Again, I'll say it again, and everybody that listens to Can Crushers knows I love you. Thank you for coming on. This has been one of my favorites. Yeah, I can't wait to make it out to Art of Grappling to see all yins out there, Pittsburgh lingo a little bit. So I've had a blast. Thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure, man. See you soon, Mark.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby fucking Blaze. I am shaking at the end of this interview. This has been amazing. This is somebody that I've watched. Listen, I've talked to Manny Fernandez, Al Snowden, but Bobby Blaze was always on my TV. Those other guys weren't always on because they were territory. Bobby we probably watched the same goddamn TBS show in 1981 that he was talking about. Me with my grandfather and him, just discovering TBS. This is unbelievable. I'm sweating. I'm super happy. This was an interview that I really needed. I hope that you heard my smile the whole time on this show, because this is what Can Crushers is about. To hear the stories about us probably watching the same TBS show and him discovering that, and oh my God, this was a great interview for me. I loved it. And you heard him talking about the Art of Grappling, FTC, and I've had those kids on. Pause right now. If you have not listened to the ones of Brox and Titan and Sarah and the Brothers of Seductions, and I'm forgetting somebody, go back and listen to those as well, because you hear about this family, this net group that is just so unbelievable in that organization, and it's just so much fun. Holy shit. This was amazing. Guys, go out, buy his books, follow him on IG and Twitter and all of that. And yeah, if you want to be part of an interview like this as well, get on Can Crushers. Make my day. If anything, this made my day. This was unfucking believable. Bobby, thank you once again for coming on the show. I can't wait to meet you. We have something scheduled to hook up down the line. So, yeah. Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Make sure you tell your loved ones you love them, because you never know.